Hey guys, and welcome to an episode of Hobby Sauce. I have Jose here with me, and today we're going to be talking about 2018 Clash of Kings. Let's get saucy. Hobby Sauce. Thanks for coming back, guys. We're really excited to get started. Jose and I are just going to talk about Clash of Kings a little bit here. We haven't gone over it much with each other, so you're just going to hear us BS about this, basically. I am going to let you know we do have this organized, so we're going to go over new rules, then we're going to go over new units, new formations, and then whatever we think this is going to do to the meta. If you're only interested in one of those things, I'm going to put the title and description down at the bottom so you can go straight to it, because this is going to be a longer video. But that being said, let's get into it. I've been like super excited about this book.
Man, when he came to town, I just ran. I left the office and I went and got it. Man. It's so amazing.
I left on my lunch break, and I was like pestering my local game store guy, just like texting the crap out of him to get this. We got it on Wednesday. I was really expecting it on Monday, but you know, whatever, it works.
Yeah. And I thought I beat you to it, but you were there first.
No, I was instantly there. So they've changed a lot of things. This has been like the worst kept secret ever. So a lot of this stuff y'all have already heard of. So we're going to go over the new rules changes pretty quickly. But first, Thunderous Charge, of course. Huge change. No longer removes the full thing when you're hindered. It only removes one. Right. Which means that you can slam straight through something and still get one of those Thunderous Charges if you have TC2 or more, which is really big for certain units. It's huge.
It is huge. Before, I mean, you go through a forest, some rough terrain, and all your Thunderous Charge is gone.
Right.
All of a sudden, you don't have any punching power, and that didn't feel good. I felt good if you were the one hiding behind the forest, but it didn't feel good if you were the one charging through it.
And you had to have Potion of the Caterpillar, or else there was no way around that.
Exactly.
At this point, you can take a lot of units. In fact, I think, especially with Fallen being nerfed, we're going to see...
Finally.
Finally for you. Yeah. We're going to see a lot of Mounted Sons of Korgan. We're going to see a lot of Ogre Chariots. Yeah. Anything that has Thunderous Charge 2 or more, we're going to see a lot of now.
Yeah. Big winners, you know, all the chariots, which was about time, because it's a cool model, but you know, you couldn't really use it, low nerve.
Terrible, for sure.
But now it is, I think they're legit again.
So Headstrong got buffed too for a dwarf player. You're pretty excited about that, I'm sure.
It is better. It's not great, but it's better, for sure.
You can shake a waiver and actually charge something else. And you can shake a waiver and move. I mean, I think Headstrong really is the better rule. It's just you have a chance for failure, whereas Fury, you have no chance for failure. But if you get shot into waiver, Fury is worthless. Absolutely worthless.
Yeah, a lot of the best dwarf units don't waiver, so that's also true. A little bit of a problem for dwarf players. But I'm not going to complain about making it better.
Well, we can at least say the Dwarven Ale got better. That might actually be something you might consider putting on a unit at this point.
I feel that's right. Yes.
So we also have Blood Boil, huge change.
Yeah.
Bane of existence for everyone. It seems to be like I always have all the fun stuff and it gets nerfed, and Jose's like really excited when that's over.
I'm a fair player, you know, I don't spam stuff. I play dwarf sometimes, you know.
3 whizzes with Blood Boil is not spamming. That is just how you win with goblins.
Well, I think it's been abused in some metas, I guess.
I guess so.
I guess some people were tired of facing that.
Yeah.
And I guess the RC thought that it was important to control it.
You know, the aggregate level of that, too, is really bad. Like, 1 Blood Boil, not so bad, but trombone, Blood Boil, that could kill something that would be, like, totally fine from shots normally, and you could take something that maybe has a 15-18 nerve and just kill it in one hit. So now you can't do that.
Right. I think there's some areas of the U.S. where that was abused more than in Texas. I mean, we didn't see that much of that here, thankfully.
We do like to slam a lot with that. Even with goblins, I take mincers and trolls and all that good stuff.
Right.
Not just a spam of Spitters. What was that list? I had like 360 shots. That was nuts.
Yeah, I wasn't counting, but...
So the big thing with Blood Boil is they made it a magical item, so you can only take it once. I really think that's kind of sloppy. I wish they would have just said, you can only take this once.
Yeah.
Because there are a couple things that I took, like, for instance, my Varangur Whiz, I wanted to have Blood Boil and I wanted to Inspire, and I can't do both anymore. And I can't take two because I can't afford to.
Some lists are probably dead because of that change.
I think so too.
But that's part of the good thing about the new COG 18, trying to shake up things a little bit.
That's true. Mm-hmm. So new mechanics, we have Dread, which is basically just it's Rally, but it's the opposite of Rally. It takes a nerve away. We also have Heavy Flyers, which I really didn't see anything in here. Only new units. They didn't give Heavy Flyers to old units.
What would you give Heavy Flyer to?
Any dragon unit. Elfin Dragon. King on Chimera right here.
I second that.
I would give it to Archfiends of the Abyss. And any of those just giant units. Whatever the rat mutated flying beast is.
Yeah.
Any of the monsters that are like defense 5, 10 attacks, elite, crushing 3, breath.
That makes sense.
Those are what I would give it to. But and maybe even things like Dracon Riders. Maybe not.
No, the elves are kind of nimble,
Maybe not.
It would be rough to take that away from them. But.
Anyway, only on new units, which we'll see. We have new spells, I think the biggest of which is Alchemist's Curse.
Yeah, I think that's going to change everything, especially for armies that rely on heavy defense to hold the center.
And they almost gave that to dwarves this time, and then they're like, oh, but there's Alchemist's Curse.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to see it spammed a whole lot, though.
I think it's very circumstantial. I think if you play with your friends and they all use earth elementals and you're sick of it, I mean, you come up with Ultimate Curse, but in a big field, in a tournament, I don't think it's going to be that great. I don't know. It might be.
Two armies come to mind with Alchemist's Curse. Yeah. One is goblins because they have extremely cheap wizards.
Correct.
Wizards. They call them wizards. And also League of Rhodia for the same reason.
Yes.
But they can actually get 6 wizards that are fairly cheap. I wouldn't take 6 Alchemist's Curse, but I mean, you can get a lot. Kingdoms of Men, also 50-point wizard. I think those can really do it.
It could be a good thing because we don't see too many of those armies. At least I haven't. And maybe we start seeing more League of Rhodia stuff. I think some people already.
I think we're going to see a lot of League of Rhodia, but we'll talk about that more in the formations.
Sure.
Mind Fog. We have another spell there. What do you think about Mind Fog? One dice, 30-foot range, makes a waiver test or makes a nerve test. No damage.
I think it's going to be the bane of little wizards and low nerve units. Gargoyles, probably.
I don't know.
They're receiving the end of it.
8-10 nerve. It's an above average roll, but it's a doable roll to bust them without any damage on them whatsoever.
I like it on pesky wizards. Like Goblin Wizards or
I will say why I don't like it on Goblin Wizards. I think anything with a Lightning Bolt is better off using Lightning Bolt. You're only losing 6 inches, and if you wound with that sucker, you've wounded them, so it's easier to make that check.
That is true.
But if you have something that maybe it's a wizard that Bane chants mostly or heals mostly, but doesn't have anything to do on turn 1, and can try to hit a chaff unit, or maybe late in the game, turn 5, turn 6. You can hit that thing you've gotten 14 wounds on, but managed to survive and make it go away.
Finish it off.
Right. I think it could be okay with that. It's only 10 points, so it's not like it's a killer there.
Right.
Weakness can now be cast into melee, which it should have been at the beginning.
Yeah, that's the reason why nobody took it.
It was a terrible spell, but now, especially with defense 6 people, I think if you weakness somebody when you have a really strong line, that's really going to help a lot. If your goal is to survive, weakness can really help you do that.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the meta is going to a more grindy type of situation, so that's going to come in handy.
It could, with certain armies at least, but we're also probably going to see a lot more Thunderous Charge busting through armor, too.
True.
We have 3 alignment spells now. One of them is the Martyr's Prayer, which I think is probably the most impressive one. 7 dice. It's a heal, but instead of healing, you transfer the wounds to the caster.
Yeah, you have to protect that caster real well.
You do.
If it's, say, the classic, formation, earth elementals, behind them Stone Priest, and you get those wounds on the Stone Priest, and you get exposed. It's a sad day if you're a dwarf player.
One Mind Fog.
Yeah, Mind Fog, and you're gone. So you need to hide them, protect them real well.
For sure. But they can do that behind Height 4 Steel Behemoths.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Aura of Heroism, 3 castings. It's for neutral armies. And I didn't say this, but Martyr's Prayer is for good armies only, which means you're not going to be seeing it on Forces of Nature Earth Elemental lists.
Right.
Think the Great Spaghetti Monster.
We already have good heals, so no problem, sir.
Aura of Heroism, 3 dice, and if you cast it on a unit, that unit gains Rally up to 2 for each success that turn. You could really see some major nerve buffs that way.
Yeah.
Especially if something maybe already had Griffin and only needs the 1, you could pretty much reliably have Rally 2 in units that don't have it. Veil of Shadows is the evil spell. It works like Bane Chant, 2 dice, except it gives you Stealthy instead of Crushing Strength or Piercing, so that's cool.
I think that's going to be great against elf armies that are heavy shooters on the good side.
Yep.
And the bad guys won't care.
And you can just pop it on that unit that's coming in. It has that 1 turn where it's vulnerable, and then it's in melee the rest of the time.
Exactly.
We have 3 new scenarios too. One is Taken Hold. I think this is probably the most interesting. You score on each objective you own at the end of turn 3 and forward. So if you're holding 4 objectives at the end of turn 3, you score 4 points. And that just continues, which means you could get ahead at the beginning and get to a point where even if you're getting beat on turn 5 or 6, you could still win the game.
I think it's going to produce very swingy games and very dynamic.
Dynamic games, I think, are good.
Yeah, definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be a good one. Yeah.
I like that one. We also have Scavenge. We've seen this in tournaments before. I've seen it. It happened at Capital City Clash, at least. There's an objective token in the middle of the board or in areas of the board, and you don't score on the objective, but if you hold the objective, you get a loot token, which is what the goal is to win. In this thing, only 1 unit can carry a loot token, but you could always drop it, hand it to Chaff behind you, and then take it again. I think if you have like a hold the line type army, like the Iron Walls we're going to be seeing in here, that could be really good on those type of objectives.
Yep.
We also have another one called Secure the Field. You pick 2 pieces of terrain, and if you're within 3 inches of it at the end of the game, you score. So kind of like Dominate, kind of like Zones, kind of like neither.
Right, but it's going to divide the field. The action is going to go around 2 different spots, so it's interesting.
I think it'd be terrible if it was on blocking terrain, but if it's in like a forest or something or a hill,
I would definitely pick a forest.
Yeah.
Especially with an army, say with Pathfinder.
That would be cool.
Go to town there and
Forces of Nature. Forces of Nature players saying that.
Yeah.
So we have new items too. We have the Banner of the Griffin and Loot of Insatiable Darkness. We've seen those before, but they went up in points, both the 25. We have the Staying Stone, which we got wrong in the last battle report.
We did.
It increases the waiver value only, but it's a 5-point item, so very cheap.
It's still awesome.
Yeah.
You have those, hammer units, but they have a low nerve.
Sure.
You can definitely help there, especially if you are surrounded by the Griffin.
Trolls come to mind immediately.
Exactly.
Because
Trolls.
they have an extremely low nerve rating.
Right.
But they hit really hard if they ever get in there. That would those would be nice.
Worm Riders, definitely a candidate to hold one of those.
Sure. Anything with regen I think would work very well with it.
The higher the nerve on regen units, the better, so definitely.
Chalice of Wrath gives you Fury now. I think everybody wanted that item. That's good to have.
Most definitely.
We also have the Black Iron Crown, which is pretty expensive, but it gives you a +1 to any spell you cast.
Right.
So that's Soul Drain, Blood Boil, Alchemist's Curse,
Surge.
Heal. So
I think I wouldn't put that item on a really good caster. I would put it on like a mediocre caster, and then you make it decent.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Say Winged Unicorn. All of a sudden you have Lightning Bolt 6 and heal 8.
And because you do 2 different spells with that, normally it benefits from both.
Right.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
We have Aegis of the Elohi. I think this is probably the most interesting new item we have. Gives you Iron Resolve, and if you already have Iron Resolve, it gives you an extra one.
That's that's nasty.
Iron Resolve is already disgusting, but look at this. How many times have you shot Fallen and only dealt 1 wound to them, only to see them heal it off?
Too many times.
Imagine if you shot Fallen that were already wounded, got 1 damage on them, and they healed 2.
I will leave the place right there.
That would be cool. It could happen on Earth Elementals. It could happen on a lot of really interesting things.
Right.
That kind of leaves us to the end, but we do want to take a note right now. Blood of the Old King, Helm of the Ram, we salute you. We appreciated your service, and we're going to take a moment of silence to mourn the loss of those units.
They were too good for their own good.
They were too cheap.
Too cheap, too effective. I hope they come back next time. Maybe a little bit more expensive.
I would pay $25 for Blood of the Old King easy. Easy.
No.
It's almost as good as Brew of Strength, and in the right situation, it could be worse.
Yeah, most units only get to attack once sometimes. Blood of the Old King was the best item, hands down.
Hands down.
Yeah.
So just like in Clash of Kings 17, we had some rules changes.
Right.
A lot of those stuck around, but we have some new ones, and a couple of them went away. Major changes here. Stealthy, of course.
Yeah, affecting Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, affects any spell. That's really good, and that's really good for the Night Stalkers who were just paying for nothing. I mean, and then we also have some major changes here to a couple of units. So, Chariots altogether got majorly buffed.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone's complaining about that. Everyone has Chariots.
Yeah. I mean, I think people really love the concept of the Chariots. Yeah. And you can really go crazy as far as modeling with it, but they're not too good. They weren't too good, and
they are now.
They are now. So.
Everyone got a nerve buff. Everyone got a nerve buff. If you had a chariot, its buff is nerve. Its nerve is buff. That includes even orc fight wagons.
Right.
So.
Also, they buffed the speed on some of the chariots, which makes it real good.
We're gonna get to that. That's ogres, and they are sick now.
Yeah.
Okay, so dwarfs major hit. We're just gonna hit the major ones that I think are gonna be game changing.
Okay.
Bulwarkers got big shield.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Huge. Mm-hmm. Steel Behemoth, I mean, I think marketing might have had something to do with this.
A little bit.
Breath attack 15 instead of 10 now. Strider and piercing 1.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Sign me up. I had the model for a long time and favorite. I will never field it because it's not that good, but now...
But it's gorgeous.
It is gorgeous. But now I kind of want to field it and see what's... how they roll,
They're going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Salamanders got vicious on more things, including Tyrants, which I think is really important because there's a new formation we'll go over later that has Tyrants in it. Mm-hmm. Elves, Chariots, that's all that is, okay? So the herd, Stampede went down a little bit in nerve.
Fair, because Stampede was somewhat abusive.
It really was, and it didn't go down much. It's only 1820. That's still a very respectable nerve.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Plus, they got the buff of the Thunderous Charge.
Right.
So, I mean, it's still a premium unit. I mean, it's one of the best units in the army, actually. Still, I believe.
Ogres. I think Ogres definitely got the lion's share of exciting things this time, and Trident Realm's right next to them. Ogre Chariots are going to be in everybody's lists now. They are boosted. Regiments are 13-15. Mm-hmm. Hordes are 16-18. They're speed 8.
Right.
What were the two things that sucked about Ogre Chariots? They were slow and had bad nerve. Mm-hmm. What else got buffed? other than just their nerve and their speed, Thunderous Charge, which they have Thunderous Charge 2 of, 24 attacks, hitting on 3s. That is a train of pain you do not want to be in front of.
I'm happy for the Ogre Kingdoms because you didn't see them too much. I guess Ryan, plays them.
Yeah.
And that's great, but I like to see more,
I cannot wait to see Ryan's Chariots either because that man just makes models sing when he paints on them.
That's right.
Trident Realms, I'm going to go through all this really quick because there's so many, but you guys just got buffed all around. Major thing that you lost is Placoderms no longer have Ensnare, but the rest of this just kind of makes up for it. So Riverguard Captain, Noggin, and Depth Horror Elemental all have Ensnare. Depth Horrors are now fearless. Depth Horror Eternal is fearless. Naiad Heart Piercers got additional attacks, Troop 10, Regiment 12, same for Forces of Nature.
Right.
Thuls are speed 6, not 5. Thulmathicians now have Inspiring to Thuls only. The Kraken.
The Kraken, yes.
50 by 100 millimeters. Nerve increased to 1719, and it increased its attacks to 15. I was always wondering why the Kraken even existed. Now I know.
Yeah, well, now it's relevant.
It's great. I think it's a great thing.
Right.
Siren now gets the new Drain Life spell, 6. That's pretty good. And the Inspiring rule. And Trident King is nimble. A lot of buffs there.
Right.
Twilight Kin's Darth Scythe Chariots, I think we're going to see is a lot of allied contingents now. 1618 nerve on the Horde, and those things were good before their nerve was boosted. And that's all that I really see here. Of course, Herja went away entirely, but we'll talk about that more in units. All right. Clash of Kings brought us a lot of new units, which pretty exciting here. We're just going to kind of hit through these. We're not going to hit every one of them, but we're going to hit the ones that kind of have stuck out to us.
Right.
Paladin Defenders for Basilia. Have you seen these things yet?
I know they can heal.
They are chaff that heals, dude.
Yeah.
Chaff that heals. So they're kind of beyond chaff because of that. Let me go ahead and get this real quick.
Yeah.
They are chaff that heals. You can only take them in a troop. Speed 5, melee 3, defense 5, 10 attacks, 11, 13 nerve. Pretty good. Heal 4, and of course Basilians have Iron Resolve altogether. These things, you're not going to be scared to sacrifice them because they don't cost much more than a standard thing of chaff. But you're totally fine if these things stick around too. They can score. They have. I think these are really good.
A little bit more expensive than regular chaff.
Yeah.
Because they do more.
They do.
They heal. Now, if you send them to the front and they take a charge, I guess, I'm not sure how often they get to heal.
No. I'm with you there. I don't think you're going to necessarily use them as chaff immediately, but I just think they're so cheap, you're not scared to use them.
Just in a critical moment of a game, you put them in the front and make them take it.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And they're not your first line defenders, and most individuals that heal that are willing to step in and take it, if they drop maybe 2 inches in front, they're just going to plow right through. This is a troop, so they're going to take it. I mean, and they're going to stop it, which is, I think, important. Gur Panthers for the Basilians, they're okay. Height 1, Nimble, Pathfinder, Thunderous Charge, Troop, Cavalry, hits on 4s, defense 3, 10, 12 nerve. I think they do a lot. I'd prefer them to do less and have a higher defense. That's me.
Too expensive for chaff units, I believe.
Yeah, they really are. Okay, Dwarves got some pretty interesting things.
Yes.
I want to talk about Mastiff hunting packs, and at the same time, I want to talk about the Abyssal counterparts. Have you looked at those?
The Abyssals are always better, and it's unfair.
It's not fair.
Unfair.
Mantic, why?
Why do they get all this stuff?
They cost exactly the same. But
better.
You get 1 extra point of nerve on a chaff unit like you want 1 extra point of nerve on a chaff unit.
Are they vicious?
They get vicious.
Ah, yes.
And you don't get headstrong on yours.
Yeah. Well, dwarf players we're used to suffering a little bit, but this is a great improvement for us.
Yeah.
Anybody who has been playing dwarf, and most of the game you stare at being double charged or triple charged, and not even the tough dwarf can take it, but if you have a chaff unit in front of you, all of a sudden you are in a better position. Chaff makes a big difference.
Chaff is huge. If you don't have mobility like elves have, you need chaff, and dwarves had no mobility and no chaff, which I think is why we didn't see very much of them. But
yeah, people love dwarves, so they still play them, but they are somewhat on a disadvantage, because of that.
You like to suffer. That's what you said. Yeah. Like you suffered through it.
You suffered through it.
But Mantic really pushes dwarves. They have probably the best Mantic sculpts. Definitely the most iconic Mantic sculpts, and they weren't selling much, so it makes sense to give them what they needed.
Absolutely. Now, it's not the best chaff, okay? I mean, it's good. It's not the best. Being height 1.
Oh, are they height 1?
So, and not nimble.
Not nimble.
So you cannot just put them in front of your ironclad, because all of a sudden you can block their line of sight, and you cannot double charge. Being not nimble, they cannot get out of the way, They are not fast enough to keep pace with Brock Riders, so you cannot use them in that scenario. But
I think these are for infantry more than anything.
Yes, they are for infantry, and you might want to put them in front of your earth elementals, maybe, so you can always double charge. But I think it's good. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It can be better.
The Steel Behemoth. So Steel Behemoth's got boosted already with the new rules.
Right.
But what do you think about the new Steel Behemoth?
I'm very excited about the new Steel Behemoth.
Yeah.
More breath weapon, piercing to go with it. I think it's going to make a big impact. I think people are excited about it.
It's so expensive, but it does so much. It inspires. If it didn't inspire, I wouldn't be interested in it at all. But it doesn't just inspire, it's very inspiring.
Right.
And it's not... I mean, it's a mobile organ gun.
The legendary guy.
Right, the big one. I'm talking
the big one.
The new item.
Oh, I thought... Oh, okay.
No, okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is a walking organ gun, basically.
And it can smash you in the face.
Yeah.
And it inspires.
Yeah.
And it has Strider.
I mean, it is good. I like the old-fashioned...
You like the normal one?
Behemoth better.
Yeah.
A little cheaper. But the new Behemoth, I'm not sure. I mean, it does a lot of things.
Too much.
I worry about the investment on it.
It's expensive, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. And I think a height 4 organ gun really takes care of that terrain problem you have normally.
Yeah, I mean, it is good, don't get me wrong. I'm not sure if I'll pay... depends on the size of the army,
That's true.
2,500, I would say I'm more likely to take it, but at 2,000, you have to be mindful of your decisions on it. Yeah.
So the elves got something called a Windborn Legendary Silverbreeze Cavalry. This thing is really interesting. They are basically Silverbreeze Cavalry. They hit on 7s. Of course, they're elite. And any wounds that they deal also push you back like Wind Blast.
Yes.
So that's kind of interesting. And then Tidarian Dragon Lord. This thing is like... It puts the dragon to shame. It's heavy flyer, new rule, of course, doesn't have nimble, but breath attack 15, crushing 4, elite, very inspiring, 1921 nerve.
That's a beast.
That's disgusting.
That's a beast.
And they got battle cats, which are an infantry very similar to your hunting mastiffs. They are height 0 because,
height 0.
They're going to give that to shooties.
Yeah.
What do you think of Forces of Nature's woodland critters?
That is Christmas for Forces of Nature. I mean, lacking chaff, I think, was a major problem for Forces of Nature.
Right.
Now we get it. And for a small amount, you can upgrade for snare, which is good.
Snare's great.
Flying. they are height 0, so they allow people behind them to see, and also they are nimble, ambitious. I mean, if they survive, they have a bunch of attacks.
Yeah.
So if they die, you're not too sad about it. They sacrifice themselves so your beast of nature can charge and their centaurs can charge and whatnot. If they live, though, it can be a bad day for the opposing player, because all of a sudden, I mean, you're talking about 30, 60 attacks on the flank. You get to enchant them. That's a big blow right there. So
it's crazy.
I'm super excited.
Their melee is so low because their attacks are so high, but I mean, like, especially if they get some kind of bonus, that really helps out a lot, or if you roll good. I've always thought, I was an Orcs player in 40k, I always thought more dice is more consistent, so I don't care that I'm hitting a lower number. I know that I'm probably going to get the right number that time, so that's always really nice. Height 0, they can have fly. They're really cheap.
Yeah.
They're less than 100 points even if you give them fly. And I think
they have
go ahead, yeah, go.
Yeah, they have higher nerve than average chaff too, so they're somewhat resilient.
Defense 2, but then again, that doesn't really matter, especially if you get them in cover or something like that.
Or rough terrain.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you also got the Greater Fire Elemental, which does not have shambling.
Right.
I think that was probably designed so that you don't shoot and then get surged in and hit with the same thing, because it's piercing 4, crushing 4.
Right.
But it can pretty much consistently do some serious damage.
I think it's legit.
I think so too.
It will put a lot of wounds for sure, almost guaranteed. I like that it's not that shambling unit, maybe, because it have more range of movement. But yeah, I think it's a good unit. Yeah.
So the ogres got Red Goblin Rabble and Red Goblin Sharpsticks, which we don't really need to go into too much here. They only had Red Goblin basically spitters before. They called them Red Goblins, but they were the spitter goblin unit. They have Rabbles and Sharpsticks now too. They cost a little bit more. They don't have Yellow Bellied. Enough said. I think that's good because Rabble's cheaper and you don't really care about the shots for ogres.
Right.
If you take Red Goblin Rabble, they are there to take a hit,
That's what they're paid for.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So Boomer Chariots, on the other hand, these are interesting. Very interesting to me. So they're a good deal bigger than a regiment of boomers would cost. But for that, you get 12 attacks instead of 9. And their height 3, so they can see over their compatriots and blast in. And of course, their speed 8 too, which could matter.
Yeah.
They don't get any thunderous charge. They have the same crushing strength and piercing they would have had normally, but they do have more attacks. And their nerve's about the same. I don't know. Maybe in the right list, they might be good. I think if you really wanted to go like an all chariots list, you kind of need these guys.
I mean, I'm excited about the chariots in general.
Ogre chariots in general are amazing, and we're going to get to that in formations.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope to see more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be great. Abyssal Dwarves, we talked about the hunting pack. They also got a Taskmaster slave driver on chariot. He's pretty vanilla hero here, but he's pretty cool. Goblins. I was so excited about these. They sounded so cool. I'm not impressed. The Goblin Mega Blaster, this is probably the more interesting of the two. It's like the Ogre.
It explodes.
But it has big shield. So that changed something. So it might actually get there and get to do what it did. But
because the Ogre one is not playable from what I understand.
It just dies. That's just all it does. I mean, it eats a shot. And if that's your only goal, then sure, it eats a shot. But especially since you can't spam them, there's really no point in doing those. This one does have big shield, so I guess you would model this with a mincer. That's what I'd maybe put explosives or something on it instead. It does the same thing as a big blaster, but it has big shield. Goblin's Great Lava is a rock lava, a rock thrower, a big rock thrower, whatever they're called. I sometimes use the old girlfriend's terms, but it has piercing 3. I think that's the same, but it has elite. I mean, elite's really the big thing that it gets. Its blast is 1 more, d6 plus 3, and it doesn't cost much more. It's just I was expecting more. If you want a 4th rock lava, though,
does it hit on 5?
Like normal, yeah. Indirect fire.
I'm not a big fan of things that hit on fire. They're not reliable. You need to take a bunch of them.
That's true. Yeah. You do. And for goblins, you can do that.
Right, because they're cheap.
Extremely. And this follows that same vein. But it's still, I wanted more. I wanted something. If it hit on 4, I would have been impressed with this. Or if it got 2 shots. 2 shots on 5, also much better. But Orcs got a Crusher. I'm going to tell you, this does not look exciting, but I'm really excited about the Crusher.
Yeah, you know somebody's going to find a way to make them work.
It's a hero.
Right.
It's a hero from Kingdoms of Men, which is like the fastest, best chav in the game.
Yeah, that's true.
He costs 10 more points than a hero. He has an extra crushing strength. I wish he just didn't have that and cost the same as a hero. But at the same time, you can run that guy up. He can reliably hurt war machines. He can probably wound a shooting unit.
Right.
And and he can definitely stand in something's way. And he costs so little.
Yeah, they're very tactical. I think that helps. There's a lot of hype about new orc army designs.
Oh yeah.
So maybe they get the piece that they were missing. I don't know.
They got long axes too, which are just phalanx orcs troops. Enough said there, but I mean it's good if you want to have a line that can hold. And thunderous charge, I think, is going to be a really big thing this time.
Yes.
Phalanx just automatically gets better because thunderous charge got better.
Correct.
And now they have it. Trident Realms, Nakushi, Nakushi, Worm Rider, Commander. Trident Realms are a neutral army, so they would not normally have access to Martyr's Prayer. But this has Martyr's Prayer 7, and it has Regen 4, which I don't think I really have to explain to any of our viewers why taking wounds off of something and then regenning them is a good thing.
That's the best combo.
Yeah.
Right there.
Really
Absolutely.
Good. He's pretty expensive, but he has some attacks too. 6 attacks, melee 3, speed 8. You could take him with your Worm Riders because I think you would do really well with them. Martyr's Prayer with regen troops and the person casting it regenning. You have a lot of survivability there.
Especially with Regen 4. Regen 5, it's okay, but Regen 4 is really reliable.
It is. Half your wounds should go away.
Mathematically.
Yeah.
Yes.
Undead got Mantic, come on, give us some. We have Grok, Makanagok, Nakakushi, Afifas, I don't know. Asparagus champion of death. You figure that one out. What does that say?
Apaphis.
I'm calling him Asparagus.
I don't know.
Champion of Death, hero monster. This is actually worse than the previous Undead. It has less options, but it also costs quite a bit less. And man, I'm drawing him. Empire of Dust can take it too.
Oh, okay.
And Empire of Dust did not have a unit like this. It has Crushing Strength 3. Drain Life 6. Drain Life, of course, is the old Soul Drain. Nothing changed about it. It's just Soul Drain. Dread. Elite. Life Leech 1. Surge 6. Very inspiring. It's a heavy flyer. Speed 7, so not speed 10. 10 attacks. 5 defense. 18-20 nerve. I don't hear much I don't like here.
That's a lot of special rules in one place. Yep.
So this guy is under 300 points. The other one was over 300 points and had more melee capability. But this one has more spell capability. It has a lot of healing capability. It can surge. It can drain life. It has life leech. And it has dread, which he doesn't even have to hit something to affect combat.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, they have this heavy surge list on Empire of Dust. Things can go from one end of the table to the other.
It's nuts. I got charged on turn 1.
So I guess this fits that same vibe, huh? I don't know.
And he can move 7 up and do it. He's pretty fast.
Yeah.
Death packs are sick. I'm not even going to lie. 75 points.
Cheap.
Super cheap. 12. Fearless. Nerve. 2 2 up defense. Okay, they're chaff. That's fine. 5 up melee. Again, 15 attacks.
That's a lot.
Life leech 2. Shambling, which means you can do shambles shenanigans with them. There's speed 6, which means they're going to keep up with your infantry.
Right.
Nimble, which means it's even easier to set up shambles shenanigans. And vicious.
Yeah, no, that's very good.
And here's the kicker. 10 points more, they get stealthy.
And you cannot shoot them that easy anymore.
That's right.
Yeah, no, for an army that relies heavily on search, I think that's the perfect fit.
And I think these are just superior to ghouls. Absolutely superior. If you were running ghouls, this is what you run for chaff now.
And ghouls were already good.
So we also have Magnilde of the Fallen.
Yes, by Herja. I'm not even going to cry.
Okay, so Magnilde of the Fallen is... I'm disappointed. I understand Herja was a little OP. I'm not even arguing. I'm not. She was. Defense 6 didn't need to happen. I think we should have left Herja almost as she was, taken her to defense 5, big change, huge change, and brought life leech up to 2 to make up for it a little bit.
Okay.
Kept the same point total. I would have even been okay with getting rid of the judgment. I don't care about the judgment. She's an ultimate harasser. Magnilde... Okay, so she's 100 points cheaper. She's way cheaper than Herja was. She has 7 attacks, elite, crushing 2, hits on 3. So the same melee profile she had. But her defense is 5. Her speed is 7, and she doesn't fly.
Right.
Her special rule is she can fly once a game.
Herja was just too good. Something had to be done about her. Pretty much every single Barangu player will take Herja, and... she was just magnificent. I mean, and she was immortal. I mean, I never saw her die.
The defense 6 was too much. I said the defense 6 was too much. The defense 6 was too much. But she... I mean,
it hurts when they retire, your favorite character like that.
They give this beautiful story about how Herja dies terribly. Mantic, you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Mantic, you are rocking it. Now she lives. Part of her soul still live inside Magnilde.
I don't even understand it. I'll be honest. For the people that are really into the fluff, I'm not going to ruin the whole thing for you. But they do give some quick little explanation for why Herja is no longer Herja. Abyssal champions, I think, are better now. Abyssal champions are what I would have been fine with Herja just being an Abyssal champion. I think the Mercenaries are going to change things, though. For one, Blaine, which we're about to get into, is just better than Magnilde of the Fallen. He's just better. He's just better. If you did not have a harasser unit, Blaine is your harasser unit. He can go into any army. Check this out. He costs right at 200 points. Speed 5, but you can upgrade him to a horse. He's speed 8. Nimble, of course, he's an individual. Melee 3. He has a ranged hit of 5, and he gets how many firebolts? 7 firebolts. With piercing 1. 7 firebolts with piercing 1.
That's pretty good.
Defense 5. 7 attacks. And is he elite? He is not elite, but he is brutal.
That's a solid unit.
I think so too. 14, 16 nerve. A thunderous charge 1, 2. If you put him on the horse, which I think everyone's going to put him on the horse. Raptor. Excuse me. It's a raptor.
Well, there's an intimidation factor right there. You ride a raptor, you're the man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see a lot of Blaine.
It sounds like it. I mean, it's a good unit.
He's stupid good. I mean, like, if you were Abyssals, you had the Abyssal Champion. If you were Varangur, you had Herja. If you were Dwarves, you had your King.
On wings.
Who else has a harasser unit? Because those are amazingly good.
Right.
This is your harasser unit. If you didn't have a harasser unit, Blaine is your harassment unit.
Yeah.
Ronaldo the Bard costs nothing. This is the only fluff I'm going to read. And again, Mantic, you should be ashamed of yourselves. Now, this is a ditty all about how my life got changed, turned upside down, and I'd like to take an hour and sit right here, and I'll tell you how I came to be the bard of a land called Mantic. Ear.
Uninspiring?
Yeah. Does he inspire? He doesn't. Okay, well, he doesn't inspire, so yeah, it's fine. Mm-hmm. He does nothing. Like, almost nothing.
Well, he's a bard.
He rallies.
I mean, he plays a guitar probably, you know. I mean, what are you going to ask from the guy?
He has like a drunken swing punch, though. Mm-hmm. Check this out. He only gets one attack, and he's yellow-bellied.
Okay.
He only gets one attack. He hits on 5. But he has Crushing Strength 4 and Blast D3. So if he hits you...
What if he hitting you with a guitar or something?
Maybe he's like looking over here and then slamming his lute into your balls. That's all I can think of.
That sounds like a plausible explanation, yes.
He costs nothing though, so you can keep him around, he can rally, and then you can throw him in front of something when you need to.
Yeah.
It's not like we're going to be sad to see the bard go.
Nobody's going to be sad about him.
And there was much rejoicing. Yay. Only good people can take Ronaldo the Bard, but evil armies can take Funny Bone, and neutral armies they only have Blaine, I guess. Mm-hmm. But evil armies can take Funny Bone. He's practically the same thing. 13 nerve, unwaverable. Again, costs next to nothing. And does next to nothing. Melee 6, 1 attack. He doesn't even have the swing punch. But instead of rallying, he has dread.
Right.
So he can walk around, act as chaff when he needs to, and basically be a walking brutal for you if you don't have brutal, or double brutal if you do have brutal.
That stacks?
Well, dread is -1 to nerve, and brutal is -1 to your nerve check.
Yeah,
so it would stack.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That concludes all the new units. So, formations. I think this is the big thing that everybody was really excited about. It's the one thing that wasn't spoiled very much.
Right.
I'm going to say the formations are kind of hit and miss to me. I think there's some really good ones in here. Right. Really good ones. And really good new ones that we haven't seen in the previous campaigns. Mm-hmm. But some of them aren't so hot.
Yeah. The trick with the formations is... are they good enough to change the composition of an army? I mean, that's not an easy question to answer in my mind. You have to play test with them a lot. And I think some of them are kind of hard to judge on paper, in my opinion.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut that. I don't know if I'm recording real quick, and I didn't pull it back out. I am good. Mm-hmm. I'll just come right back and I'll edit there.
Right.
Yeah, I think what they were really trying to do was make some of the units that weren't used very much more usable.
Yeah, more appealing, yes.
And I think they were more successful in that with some formations than others, but I think they definitely achieved that in some of these.
Yeah, I think so too.
So, Basilians, I didn't really see anything. Mm-hmm. Brotherhood, Undaunted Crusaders is going to be a game changer for you guys. This is, and let me pull it up here, but basically it is the Pathfinder formation. I think a lot of people knew about this, but basically you take 2 units of your big dudes, Order of the Brotherhood, not your most exciting regiment, I will say, but this is extra Pathfinder. 50 points, 2 Orders of Brotherhood regiments, and an Exemplar of the Brotherhood mounted. Everybody has Pathfinder.
Yeah, that is very good.
And the Exemplar gets Banechant too.
Right. Now that is very good because you're playing in a terrain-heavy environment. Yep. Pathfinder is big.
And this doesn't use Caterpillar.
Exactly.
So Caterpillar's still open for you later.
Exactly.
I think you could put an Order of Redemption or an Order of the Forsaken behind that unit. Have the guy you have a giant, cavalry regiment. Mm-hmm. Attack force that everyone wants for Brotherhood. They're Grail Knights. Let's go do it,
Yeah. Important to remember, they don't need to be right next to the other to have formation, so you can just deploy them normally wherever you want them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That is good to remember. Mm-hmm. They also got Last Stand, which I think this is pretty good too. It's not as exciting as Pathfinder. I don't think they can really beat that, but You can take a villain, martyr, horde, 2 orders of brotherhood on foot, and regiments. And of course, regiments work really good right next to a horde. And a devoted. Everyone gets fearless and iron resolve, and the devoted gets Bane Chant 3.
That is solid.
It's pretty good. So you have your infantry in the front, cavalry support, cavalry hit. Everybody has thunderous charge. Everybody has fearless. Everyone has vicious. Bane Chants everywhere. I think, brother, it's pretty good.
Yep, that sounds good.
Dwarves, that's your army, man. Go for it. What do you think about Wall of Iron?
I think it's good. I think it got nerfed compared to the...
Well, tell us what it is real quick.
Yeah. So, for 20 points, you get 2 ironclad regiments, and 1 Bulwarker Horde, and 1 King, and one of these units is granted the Iron Resolve. So every time they pass a nerf test, they regen 1, basically.
It's one of the units or all of the units?
Each unit.
Each unit. Okay, that's a big difference.
Right. So,
and of course, Bulwarkers are a big shield. Defense 6 in the front now.
Right. So you probably want to put the Bulwarker Horde in the center, flanked by the ironclad regiments, and then all of a sudden you have increased survivability with this formation.
Yeah.
I think most dwarf players, deploys with a variant of these, so I think it really helps. I think it's solid. Yeah.
You could put Earth Elementals on top of that too, and now you have like a Defense 6 Wall of Pain. Or you could attach it with the other one. So they have Hernius' Hunting Party.
Right. We've
seen that before. We're not going to go into it. Golok's Thunder.
Right.
Okay. This is straight for marketing, but I don't think it's bad. It's you are committing to this build if you make it.
Big time.
2 Steel Behemoths and the big new Golok's Fury Legendary Steel Behemoth. If you take it, they all have a +1 speed.
Yeah. No, I'm not excited about it.
No?
I mean, it's... everybody wants to see 3 Steel Behemoths in the battlefield.
It would be so cool.
I mean, it is cool, but, you're investing so many points. I mean, unit strength 1 for each of them.
3 altogether, Jose. 3 altogether.
And then that's half your army, in a 2,000-point army. I don't know, man.
I think I'm with you on 2,000 points. But what if we were looking at Lone Wolf with 23?
If we were playing like 10,000 points, maybe.
Okay, I'm gonna make a quick point for this. That is mobile artillery, like war trombones, only better, and their height 4. They can see over. They can move and shoot because even the Golok's, it's ranged 4, so it's shooting like a normal organ gun. If it's moving at 5, it doesn't have reload.
Right.
And it's so protected, like. With war trombones, you have to keep them very carefully hidden from lightning bolts.
Right.
These things don't care for lightning bolts.
They don't care, but you're paying for it. And war trombones are what, 80, 85 points?
Yeah, but they die when you sneeze at them.
Yeah. I mean, they're cool. It's just too much investment for me.
Okay, so that's a thumbs up from me, thumbs down from Jose. But, I admit you do have to commit to that build if you make it. But
you see, Dwarf, they need to over-deploy the enemy. I mean, Dwarf is not meant to be an elite unit, elite army, in my opinion.
Okay.
So that's why I don't like the idea of like having 3 Steel Behemoths. I mean, if we're playing on a Saturday morning game, cool, but I wouldn't take it to Lone Wolf.
You need to bring this to a Saturday morning game.
Yeah.
Elves got a couple of things. I'm not impressed with one, but I'll tell you this one. Honor Guard of the Green Lady. I don't think this is like groundbreaking, but I think it's okay. You take a Kindred Tall Spears Horde troop, and I think with Phalanx, this is just going to be better. You take 2 Palace Guard regiments. I've already said, and Nick Williams has proved very well, hordes with regiments on the sides of them work.
Yeah, okay. That's awesome.
And you take the Green Lady. A lot of elf players take the Green Lady. Some don't. If you don't like the Green Lady, maybe this isn't for you. Everybody gets regen.
Yeah. elves typically they're not very resilient, right?
But
so the regeneration in them is not the same. I mean, it is good. Don't get me wrong.
I think a lot of people are going to be getting hit on 2s because of Thunderous Charge this go around, and those guys have Phalanx.
Well, that changes everything.
With regen, and the Green Lady heals,
right?
Like some serious heals too.
Yeah. It
might not be the greatest. I'm not saying this is amazing, but it's worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Okay, Salamanders real quick got Swamp Lurkers. Swamp Lurkers gives you 2 Tyrant Regiments and a Tyrant Horde, and they all get Strider.
Mm-hmm.
So Tyrants got Vicious. They're brutal. They move 5 though, speed 5. I don't know if I want Strider on a unit that's speed 5. It's not going to be getting the charge very often.
Right. But it is good.
It's okay.
I mean...
it's not very expensive.
Right. I mean, if you have an obstacle in the way and you're just hiding behind the obstacle, waiting for the right time to charge, you don't care about that.
Maybe.
I mean, that's something.
Maybe so. Forces of Nature.
Right.
The Wild Hunt gives you Centaur, Bay Striders, Regiments, and Troops. They all get Brutal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brutal is a good rule. You know, it's nice.
And Boulder Guard, 2 Earth Elemental Hordes and a Greater Earth Elemental. They all get Iron Resolve.
Right. It sounds good on paper, but then you need at least 2 sources of surge to make a good impact on the game.
You think so?
I know so. Okay. And then that's expensive, you know. Unless if you're playing like the heavy surge variant of the army, go for it.
Okay.
But if you're like me that have like a couple of hordes of earth elementals, I don't think that's worth.
I just see I so many times I've charged your units and I slam into it and man, I think I did something good. I know I'm going to get him next time. And then the unicorn drops 6 heals on top of it.
That's what she does.
If you get Iron Resolve with that, maybe put the Agents of the Elohi on one of them that you really don't want to die. They might be pretty survivable. D6, assuming Alchemist Curse doesn't come around.
Right. Well, extremely survivable. No question about it.
And they're fearless, so they're always going to pass their check unless they die.
Mm-hmm. I think if you're playing like the big 3, you know, with the surge,
right,
and the other heroes with surge, and then you have like a really heavy surge army. I think it makes a lot of sense.
So we'll put that as a maybe in not your army, but another army maybe.
Right.
All right. So Kingdoms of Men, man, I was really excited for these guys to get a good formation. Mm-hmm. They have the cannon battery, makes them take 3 cannons and a hero. The cannons gain elite when the hero's next to him, and the hero gets inspiring for war machines only. Mm-hmm. I don't think they can possibly make me take a cannon over is it War Ballista? Mm-hmm. It's 5 points more, and it has indirect fire.
Yeah, indirect fire is a lot better. You know, you don't care about anything in between you and your enemy, and
I needed these cannons to hit on 4 to think about that. Mm-hmm. And Wolf Coats gives everybody fearless and inspiring, but you have to take a horde of berserkers and 2 regiments of berserkers and a hero. Mm-hmm. But they're trying to make these heroes inspiring, basically.
Right.
I think a lot of people are sad to see that the hero doesn't inspire. But as I said when I was talking about Orcs, Crushers, heroes are like really good chaff.
Yeah. And
if we make them inspiring, I don't care if they're inspiring. I'm gonna send them off and go die. That's your job. Go die.
Yeah.
League of Rordia. So we've already seen Alchemist Curse into this. Mm-hmm. Stealthy got buffed, so that means that Halflings got buffed.
Right.
We've had Second Breakfast. It's a 45-point formation, which I think is cheap for what this does. You take a Spearling's Horde. I've already told you, I think with Thunderous Charge going up, Phalanx is going to be a thing. Right. 2 Spearling Regiments and a Halfling Master Sergeant. They all gain Defense 4 instead of 3 and Ensnare.
Big. That's big. That is big.
Stealthy, ensnared, D4.
That is big. That's probably the best formation, perhaps.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Right.
And Thoroughbred Mounts isn't as exciting, but it still makes halflings very viable. I want to see a halfling army. I just want to see a halfling army.
Yeah.
Halfling army.
People have been working on those. I've seen a few at the, Kings of War Fanatics page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One regiment of halfling knights, which, albeit, are not the greatest, but you take a regiment, 2 troops, and a sergeant mounted. They all gain vicious and speed 8.
That is pretty good.
It fixes the 7 that they had. They are just as fast.
Mm-hmm.
They have Thunderous Charge 1. They have vicious. If you wanted to take these guys, this is a good formation for them.
Yeah. Well, everybody wants more halflings,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ogres.
Right.
I think this was an Edge of the Abyss. I'm not positive, but I think it was. But it's just gotten so much better with the changes. Hell on Wheels. Okay? 25 points.
Right.
You take 2 regiments of chariots and a warlord on a chariot.
Mm-hmm.
The regiments of chariots, which have already gotten a nerve boost just because of the cock pack, now have an extra point of nerve. And the warlord gains rallying 1. And let's not forget, Banner of the Griffin stacks with rallying.
Yeah, that is amazing. That is amazing.
You can take these things. They used to be 12-14. They will be 16-18 if you take everything. We've got regiments with horde stats for nerves. And if you're going to take this, you're going to put a horde of chariots behind them, also gaining that +2 from rally, even if it's not getting the +1 bonus for the regiments.
Yeah, all of a sudden you can have an army of chariots, maybe.
That is a pain train. And it's a wall of nerve, too. Defense 5, coming at you fast. Speed 8. I'll talk about this when we talk about lists. But this thing, if you're taking Ogre Chariots, this is how you take Ogre Chariots.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we also have Trident Realms. Mantic, come on, guys. So you gave Thule Mythicians Inspiring to Thules, just in the Cock 18 pack. And now we have a formation that gives a Thule Mythician Inspiring to Thules.
Mm-hmm.
I think we needed some more proofreading here. But you take 1 Thule, 1 Thule regiment, 2 Thule troops, and a Thule Mythician, and they all get +1 speed. So if you like Thules, okay. Abyssal Dwarves got some bonuses for Slave Orcs. Slave Orcs, of course, took a hit. They're hitting at 5s now, which I think was really necessary.
Oh, yeah. People were getting ready to abuse these orc slaves. I mean, they were getting ready, man.
By people, you mean Aaron Chapman, right?
yeah, basically, yes.
So, 2 Slave Orc hordes, a slave driver, and a slave orc gore riders regiment. Now, if you're not taking those, maybe this formation isn't for you, but they all gain +2 to their route nerve value, and it's their route nerve value, so they will waver still. And they get fury, though, so who cares?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
You're going to be using those guys as just a tar pit, so now they're better at tar pitting.
Yeah, Abyssal Dwarves are so good. I hate them because they're so good.
I think it's pretty good. So a couple other things I wanted to point out. Goblins, this is old, but it's the Voracious Maw Pack. I still think this could be possible. It's a horde of Fleabag Riders, which I've really wanted to see in a tournament badly. And then 2 Fleabag Rider regiments. It gives Strider to the horde of Fleabaggers, and everything gets a +1 to nerve.
I don't know, do people take them in hordes?
You can.
But have you seen it?
I did it in a starter game one time and felt really bad.
Yeah, I think they're better in the smaller versions.
It gets Strider, though. So if they didn't get Strider, I wouldn't even be talking about this. But they have a lot of attacks. Something to think about. Night Stalkers, this is pretty good, okay? Grim Harvest. Formation only costs 20 points.
Okay.
1 Scarecrow Legion, 2 Reaper regiments, and you've seen Reapers in action. Those things have a lot of attacks.
Right.
Everything gets Life Leech 2.
That is very good.
So Scarecrow Legion, for maybe 2/3 of the points, basically has become a legion of bloodworms. And we have Reapers with Life Leech 2. It's pretty good. Doesn't cost that much, and these are units you'd probably be taking anyway if you were doing an infantry heavy Night Stalker list.
Right.
We also have Ratkin Lab Rats giving regeneration to Ratkin Warriors. It's kind of interesting. If they tar pit, they tar pit better.
Right.
Undead have Iola's Thirstful Coven, Soul Reaver Infantry Troop ×2, 1 regiment, and they all gain Fearless. You know, one of the few units that the Undead could actually be wavered on. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, that's right.
And finally, this is interesting for the Varangur. It's called the Troll King's Horde. And you take 2 regiments of Cave Trolls, 1 horde of Cave Trolls, and the Cave Troll King. I've always really liked these units. The big thing that I've hated about them is that they're irregular and everything in the Varangur unit costs so much.
Right.
This is free, and it makes them not irregular.
That is very good. The thing with Varangur is they have so many good units. You know, it's hard to choose. Now, with the Fallen being nerfed, maybe people are going to start looking for other alternatives.
I hate the Fallen nerf. I'm not saying the Fallen didn't need to be nerfed.
Right.
They did. I think they would have been much better to have taken their speed down so they weren't cav speed anymore.
Right.
And that way they would have been more of the infantry level, which, I mean, is what their lore says they are anyway. I don't know. That's just me. But that's it for the formations that we see. There are more in here. We have not spoiled the entire book, but I think we've gone over the ones that at least Jose and I think are worth mentioning.
Right.
So, Jose, what does this mean for Kings of War at large?
Well, things are changing.
Yeah.
I think units with Thunder Charge are obviously big winners here.
Huge.
So any unit in an army with Thunder Charge 2 or 3 automatically got a lot better.
And incidentally, I mean, just, you know, for every action there's an opposite reaction. Phalanx got better without even being touched, just because Thunderous Charge got so much better.
Correct. So, you know, I think we're going to see a lot more, you know, Bullwalkers. We're going to see
maybe some sharp stick hordes.
Yeah, sharp sticks for sure.
Ensnared phalanxy halflings are definitely happening.
And maybe now it's more valuable to disorder these high Thunder Charge units. You know, maybe you need somebody to disrupt them before they can hit you.
It's important. Before
you rely on that, but also on terrain. But now that is not there anymore.
Maybe Blaine.
Yeah, Blaine.
I like Blaine. Yeah. I really like Blaine.
Yeah.
I think that we're going to see more infantry.
Yes.
And the reason I think we're going to see more infantry is because you've got so many cool formations. They're going to cause it. Also, you have so many things hitting with Crushing Strength and Thunderous Charge Smashy that Phalanx or Ensnare troops, I think, are going to be more important than a really high defense.
Yeah, I think now the new thing to rely on is Hive Nerve, and hopefully the enemy not hitting you, like with Snare, for instance.
Sure, or Stealthy.
That's the more obvious conclusion, but you know, you cannot completely take away the importance of movement in this game. So it's going to be interesting to see how much people are going to switch into infantry-based unit versus just keeping the old, you know, paradigm of high movement cavalry type of units, you know.
What are some armies that, you know, maybe we didn't see a whole lot in 2017 that you think we might see in 2018?
I think there's a lot of love for Dwarf, so especially with improvements on the Steel Behemoth and the Bullwalkers, so I think we're going to see more of that.
And Chaff. And
we get Chaff.
They basically fixed all your problems.
Yes, some of them.
Well, mobility is going to be a thing with
right.
legs this short.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I think we're going to see a lot more halflings.
Yeah. Rordia.
League of Rordia coming.
Not just that formation, but also Alchemist Curse, I think, is really going to help them out.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I think Brotherhood.
I think Brotherhood's the other one we're really going to see a lot of.
Brotherhood, I mean, they have excellent cavalry, but they're mainly based on Thunderous Charge, right, and Crashing Strength.
But
and
Thunderous Charge got a boost.
Exactly.
And they got the Pathfinder formation.
Yes, so I think that's going to give them a big boost.
They have really cool cavalry. Brotherhood is one of those just... I mean, if you're a modeler and you find the right minis, I think Brotherhood can really just be a gorgeous army too. But you have Order of the Redemption, which are regenning knights, Order of the Forsaken, which are Pegasus knights, and then Order of the Brotherhood, which are just like, you know, normal knights that are also really cool. You just have a lot of options there. I think they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are probably... And Ogres, I think, is going to be the last one.
Ogres.
Ogre Chariots, I think we're going to see a lot of that. And I think we're going to see maybe not a Twilight Kin boost. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. But I think we're going to see at least Twilight Kin Chariots as allies a lot.
I think we're going to see a lot more Chariots across the board.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
Orcs also, maybe. Orcs kind of got a lot of things that they had problems with. They got a phalanx unit. Chariots got boosted, so those fight wagons that everyone does are a lot better, and they got better chaff.
Right. Yeah. Force of Nature got chaff.
Yes.
Big changer. I don't see a lot of Forces of Nature armies.
I don't know why. You do very well with them, and I really... The way you play them, at least, I feel like they have a lot of options.
They do, and the modeling options are just excellent.
Sure.
This is a beautiful army, you know? So I'm excited about Forces of Nature for this year.
I'm excited about Clash of Kings 2018 altogether.
Absolutely.
This is going to be a great time. And we look forward to hearing more about you. Jose and I are going to be playing a Clash of Kings 2018 game. I don't have it edited right now. I wanted to get this out to you as fast as possible, but look right there for it, and I will link up to it once we have that edited and shot. And again, be sure to subscribe to Hobby Sauce so that I can get you some weekly updates. Stay cool and stay saucy. Hobby Sauce.